program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbalo in our makeshift studio here in Akure, the Ondo State capital, where we are monitoring for you the governorship election in Ondo State. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's the last day of campaign, and you can feel it in the town, literally. You can feel the atmosphere and the excitement in the air, especially as voters and supporters of the different political parties are moving from one end to the other, trying as much as possible to get the convictions of the politicians and, of course, making up their minds in the last minute. And a lot of things are also happening in the very last minute. Let's bring you up to speed with what happened today. Yesterday, we saw the final rally of the APC. But today, the major streets of Akure was agog as the People's Democratic Party and their leaders, their supporters, are thronging the street, marching towards the venue of the Ondo governorship, the PDP governorship final rally. We could see governors, leaders of the People's Democratic Party leading the campaign, and we saw it happening, especially some of the speeches that were made, giving assurances of the chances of the PDP governorship candidate Agbola Ajayi into that election. Let me allow you to listen to some of those things that were said at that rally today. You can see there some of the soundbite at that rally. So much to talk about tonight. The Labour Party and some of the issues that we have seen getting a lot of reaction. The Labour Party in Ondo State, just on the last day of campaign, and is thrown into some kind of confusion. We'll be getting some clarity. There is a Court of Appeal decision. What does this mean for the chance of Shola Ebisheni, who has been declared by the umpire as the candidate of the party? But then we've seen yet another dimension and dynamics thrown into the race. The Labour Party, the obedience in Ondo State. What are they to expect as we get into this race? We'll be getting you into all of that tonight. But first, we will get to know what is on the mind of President Bola Tinubu. There is a projection. A figure for the 2025 budget has been proposed, and there are assumptions for the medium-term expenditure framework has been announced and approved by the executive today. Does it make sense? Are those realities? The issues of the inflation, the issues of expectations on the revenue on oil, the expectation on the production of oil, are those the realities of our time today? We'll be getting some explanation to that. But first, let's serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has sought for an adjournment in the fresh case it instituted against the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello, saying the 30-day window was still running for the summons earlier issued. The commission, however, admitted his co-defendants, Mr. Umar Oricha and Abdulsalam Ihudu, to administrative bail and prayed the court for extension of time for Mr. Bello to appear. At the resumed hearing before Justice Marian Aneni of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Abuja, counsel for the EFCC, Jamiu Agoro, said the order of the court given on the 3rd of October had not elapsed. He also noted that 20th of November earlier given was not convenient for the prosecution counsel. The governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebholo, has ordered the immediate freezing of all state-owned bank accounts. A statement issued by the chief press secretary to the governor, Mr. Freddie Toa, also warned commercial banks, heads of ministries, departments and agencies of government to comply with the order and ensure that no dime is withdrawn from any of the state-owned accounts. He notes that the order shall remain valid until all necessary investigations and reconciliations are carried out. And ahead of Saturday's governorship elections in Ondo State, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has begun the distribution of sensitive electoral materials to the 18 local government councils in the state. The distribution exercise was carried out at the premises of the Central Bank of Nigeria in Akure, the state capital, under heavy presence of security operatives. The acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Umar Damagun, has appealed to the electorate in Ondo State to cast their votes for the party's candidate Agbola Ajayi in order to put an end to bad governance in the state. Mr. Damagun was speaking at the party's final governorship election campaign rally held in Akure, the state capital. The Zamfara state government has announced its readiness to implement a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira for civil servants in the state. At a press conference in Guzau, the Zamfara state capital, the state's head of service and chairman of the Workers' Verification Committee, Mr. Ahmad Liman, says the state government has also uncovered 20 medical doctors listed as ghost workers during an ongoing verification exercise aimed at implementing the new minimum wage. Mr. Liman announced that the full implementation of the new minimum wage will commence once the verification exercise concludes at the end of November.
So much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's first have our immediate check on our breaking news as far as the economy is concerned. So the Federal Executive Council today has approved a proposed national budget of 47.9 trillion for the 2025 fiscal year. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, said he's today in Abuja while briefing State House correspondent after the FEC meeting presided over by President Bola Tinubu. This was part of the midterm expenditure framework for 2025 to 2027 and in line with the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007. Take a listen to the Minister of Budget and National Planning.
Included parameters for the 2025-2027 medium-term fiscal framework, which include an oil price benchmark of $75 a barrel for 2025, oil production of 2.06 million barrels a day, as well as an exchange rate of 1,400 naira to a dollar, and GDP growth of 4.6%. And equally, the fiscal objectives were conservative because we want to ensure that we steady the course much as we believe the projections will be exceeded. The budget size that was approved for presentation to the National Assembly in the MTEP is 47.9 trillion, with new borrowings of 9.22 trillion to finance the budget deficit in 2025.
You heard the minister. You heard the oil price benchmark put at $75 per barrel. Oil production put at 2.06 million barrels per day. You'll be asking the question, have we been able to produce up to that? Why are they proposing? Why the assumption expect at that price, at that volume? 1,400 naira to the dollar, that is the assumption, and the GDP growth rate at 4.6%. We're getting some insight from one person who is in the know, who has talked so much about the economy and how the Tinubu government has been going about the economy direction of the nation. But let's take a quick break, everyone. When we come back, my guest will be giving us insight into all of this, and of course, I will bring in the Labour Party in Ondo State. There is a court of appeal position. What does it mean for the chances of the Labour Party? Is the last day of the campaign? Is this deliberate? What exactly is the morale on the ground in Ondo State as far as this Ondo governorship election is concerned. We'll be back after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get to bring you up to speed with what is happening as far as the Labour Party is concerned in Ondo State. Yesterday, we understand that there is a position from the Court of Appeal. We've been seeing an enroll order. What is the implication? What exactly is the position of the Court of Appeal? Chief Shola Ebisheni has been recognized by INEC. He's gotten a judgment of court to be the flag bearer of the Labour Party. But what came out of the Court of Appeal yesterday, what does it mean? Dr. Olorunfemi has been talking about this. But who exactly is the flag bearer and the real candidate of the Labour Party in Ondo State? I'm being joined tonight by Chief Shola Ebisheni. He's live with us. Thank you so much indeed. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Have you been thrown out of the race?
Oh, why? No. In fact, there is a need for me to first make some clarification. I did not become the candidate of Labour Party based on court judgment. I became the candidate of Labour Party through a process presided over by Abure as national chairman, Dr. Olorunfemi as deputy national chairman, Clement Ojukwu as the national organizing secretary, Farouk as secretary, and Kehinde Edun as national legal advisor, and the whole complement of the National Working Committee of the Labour Party were the one who midwifed and executed my being the candidate of the party. Where there was a little confusion was when INEC refused to acknowledge that fact by uploading my name. That was why we went to court. Going to court was not against Labour Party. As a matter of fact, Labour Party was the first plaintiff in that case. It's to compel the INEC to upload my name as the candidate of the Labour Party.
And the High Court affirmed that.
The High Court affirmed that. So there was no controversy within the party of me being the candidate. This height.
But there was a controversy, though.
No, there was,
just for a moment,
right.
sir. There was a controversy at the national level because, according to law,
Yes.
that the national body of the party is saddled with the responsibility of conducting a state governorship primary.
Right.
At the time,
Yes.
Abure was battling to hold on to the leadership of the party.
Right.
There are those who will say, "Who conducted your primary?"
Exactly. This is exactly what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. The issue of who conducted, the question of who conducted my primary was not issue. The de facto National Working Committee of the party, as at that time, was the Abure National Working Committee. It was the Abure National Working Committee. Before then, they had Olorunfemi as a placeholder. At the end of nomination in April, the Labour Party in Ondo State had no candidate. It was resolved, and it is on record, that the party put somebody as a placeholder to be substituted later. And what does that mean? In Ondo State, as you will have seen, Shehu, all the governorship candidates by the Ondo State's emerging political culture are from the South Senatorial District where I come from. Check all the political parties. So Labour Party then decided to pick somebody from the North Senatorial District that is just completing its 8 years term through Akeredolu to be the surrogate. That was what Dr. Olorunfemi was. And at the end of it all, the party now wanting to get a substantive candidate. Olorunfemi himself voluntarily, because he's been coming to channels and other television telling stories, he voluntarily withdrew his candidature, backed by affidavit to that effect, the same as applied to his running mate, that he has consulted widely and come to the conclusion that for one reason or the other, again bordering on financial constraints, they are all in the public domain, that is no longer. And the party called me. All right, take the nomination form. 20 million naira, I paid. Okay, Olorunfemi spent some money. They calculated at 5 million naira. I paid. He was asked to give me.
And he was received.
He was asked to give me his GTB account number. To pay which I paid. The party gave me the UBA account number of the party, to which I paid 20 million naira. As at that time, then there was a decision that within 14 days, according to the Electoral Act, a substitution primary was to be held. It held there in Akure on the 18th of July. So as at that time, I have become the jure and the de facto governorship candidate of the party. The only issue was that INEC refused to upload my name, and we went to INEC. First, I made Labour Party the first plaintiff, myself the second plaintiff, and my running mate the third plaintiff. In the course of the case, the National Legal Advisor came to court with a motion. As at that time, really, they were having problem with INEC, and they felt that they were not obliged to sue INEC in order for it not to have a backlash effect on them. That is the policy of it. They said, look, please remove our name. We do not want to confront INEC. And they brought that motion asking the name of Labour Party to be struck out. And that was all they came to court for. It was by originating summons. All the affidavits, all the grounds were stated there. So the best they could get from that was a strikeout of the name of the Labour Party. But that does not affect my local standard as the candidate, the jure, and the de facto to sue in my name. As a matter of fact, the High Court said, and that is true, that by the rules of the court, if the court finds out that an interested party was not joined in the suit, the court can so much join that party to the suit. So that was what transpired at the High Court.
Have you seen the enrolled order that was signed today by the registrar?
Oh, yes,
of the Court of Appeal.
I saw that an enrolled order is not a judgment.
But it's a position of the court.
It's not the position of the court.
It's a document that emerged from the court.
Of course, yes.
And interestingly, the appellant in the case was your party.
Yes.
And the respondent is yourself, number one, Chief Olushola Nehemiah Edusheni, Adedayo Ezekiel Awude, and Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Yes.
Now, the prayers as listed in the enrolled order, and the order as captured in that enrolled order, states, it says, it is hereby ordered that I see a lot of merit in the instant appeal and accordingly allow the same. Secondly, the judgment of the lower court below in suit with number FHC ABJCS/1105/2024 delivered on the 27th of September 2024 is hereby set aside.
Yes.
That was a judgment that affirmed your candidature as the Labour Party flag bearer, and the suit before the lower court struck out for want of jurisdiction.
Exactly. If an appeal is allowed, an appeal, first and foremost, the first fundamental basis of an appeal is that it's a rehearing of the case of the lower court. You will not come to a court of appeal and seek reliefs which you did not seek at the lower court.
A retrial. It's supposed to be an appeal.
It's a retrial. Yeah. An appeal is a retrial. It's a rehearing of the suit.
But you are not bringing forth a new
issue. Exactly. What was the issue at the lower court? I keep telling you that the issue at the lower court is that we do not quarrel with your nomination, which we midwifed, but that we did not authorize you to sue in the name of the Labour Party. So if you remove the name of the Labour Party, I am still on firm ground as a candidate of the Labour Party. So the allowance of the appeal is to what extent? Is to the extent of the name of Labour Party being removed as the first plaintiff in the case. And that is why we are saying that beyond what you read, is there any place where there is a pronouncement that Shola Ebisheni is no longer the candidate of the party?
No, the enrollment or the order stated that whatever the position of the court is in the trial court has been struck out.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's why I told you. That's why I told you that my candidature was not based
on the judgment. But you are asking INEC to affirm your name and confirm on the list.
No.
Because INEC did not capture you as a candidate.
No. We were not asking INEC to affirm my name. INEC has no power under the law to affirm my name.
But they did enroll you at first.
I'm coming. the nomination of a candidate for election is the primary duty. In fact, it's an exclusive duty of the political party and not of INEC. What INEC does is to upload the decision of the party. In that case, we waited for, let me tell you why we went to court. Under Section 33 of the Electoral Act, whatever decision you want to take on the nomination of a candidate, except if that candidate dies in the course of the electioneering, you ought to have done not later than 90 days before the date of election. So calculating 90 days from 16th of November downwards, that would have been about 16 September. So we went to court on the 6th of August, asking the court to order INEC to publish my name. INEC is not being asked to affirm. INEC has no power under the law to affirm. So as it is today, I am the candidate of the Labour Party. There's something you have to understand in this. When the matter was in court, Olorunfemi came to apply to join the suit because he was not a party to the suit. And he didn't do it properly at the Court of Appeal because the enrolled order you saw was merely enrolled order of the second appeal. The first appeal was by Olorunfemi seeking to be joined as an interested party, seeking to appeal as an interested party. It was the first appeal that was dismissed.
Who sponsored, Labour Party is the appellant in this enrolled order which I read today. Who sponsored it? Do you know?
Olorunfemi did. So we, in collaboration with the people he's acting for outside the party.
What exactly politically? What is going on?
Yes.
Are there people who want to scuttle your chance?
Oh, of course. Of course. There are people who want to squat you.
To what end?
Let me tell you. So I don't know. For instance, I do not want to take you up on the fact that it was the same people that made your debate to be restricted to PDP and Labour Party, and APC. It was the same. And I can say that authoritatively. It was the same.
But you are wrong, actually.
I may be wrong.
Yeah, you are.
I may be wrong. But that's the first time you will conduct a debate that is limited to only 2 political parties.
No, it was. The last time it was.
In this
between Akeredolu and Jegede.
No. Akeredolu.
I moderated.
No.
I did.
No.
I did,
No.
2020 was between Akeredolu and Jegede.
No.
It was.
No.
It was.
Akeredolu 2020 was between Akeredolu of APC, Jegede of PDP, Agbola Ajayi of the Z-Labour, who did not attend. Let's leave that. I've been part of the process. We organized it and I moderated and it was between the two. And there are reasons because our partners do a scientific survey. Let me leave. I don't even want to make an issue of that. What is important is that some people are jittery about our being in this process. And I do not want to take you on any long journey in respect of that. But the first question is, ask Olorunfemi each time, because he parades this place a lot. Ask him at any time, were you at any time proclaimed as a placeholder? Were you an authentic candidate or were you just a placeholder? If you cannot answer that question, I'll call for my phone now and show you what was the resolution at the primary.
Chief Ebisheni, yes. Is there an infiltration in your party?
There is infiltration in every party.
But it does look like yours is evident more than the others in this race. You see, Labour Party is a people's party. It's a people's party. Is it the reason why I'm coming? Is in some of tatters and disaster? No, it's not. It's not the tatters. In disarray. No, it's not in disarray. Last Monday, the leader of the party in Nigeria, our presidential candidate, was there in Akure to canvass, to give me support, and on walking through the city of Akure, starting from Ondo. He was there shaking hands with people in the market. It's unlike what you see now, because in your intro, I saw you talking about PDP, APC having their final rally. Do you call that a rally? That is not the kind of rally we're talking about. They take a particular designated site and invite their party members from across the state. They invite their people in government and the people in the party to come and address their own people. Labour Party does not do that kind of rally. We take our rally
to the people. And that is because we are the only party in this state. Thank God you've been part of this. I was commissioner for the 2 terms of Labour Party government under Mimiko in this state. My deputy was a commissioner in that same government. Any sign of development that you see in Ondo State today was by the Labour Party. In terms of our schools, in terms of our health program, in terms of the road infrastructure.
Did Mimiko's exit from Labour Party kill Labour Party in Ondo State?
Well, I wouldn't say that because Labour Party is not killed. Labour Party is not dead.
But it had a momentary outage.
There is no doubt that as the leader, you see, it has some effect on the party. Because today, what do we campaign? We campaign with the programs that we executed under Mimiko. The first government where school students are provided buses. I do not know of any other state in Nigeria. Well, as the component part of our free education policy, we pay for WAEC. Students are taken to and fro school free of charge. The day a child is conceived, it becomes the child of the state, in the sense that in our mother and child component of free health policy, which you know, the child is taken care of from the womb. The mother is given handset free of charge by government to communicate with doctors and nurses about whatever might be her condition. On the day she's going to be delivered, even through CS.
So you are going to further the Mimiko.
We are going to build on it.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, one of the areas.
Let me ask you, because
yes,
it does look like you left the Labour Party.
Is that?
You left the Labour Party.
No.
You sought refuge in other political parties.
No.
You were unsuccessful. And you saw that Labour Party will give you a chance, and you took it.
No. Let's put it this way. There is no one in Labour Party today, and I say that with all authority, that is older than I am in Labour Party. I told you, I was commissioner for 2 terms in the first government ever established by Labour Party in Nigeria between 2009 to 2017. It was in that same party that I got nominated by the federal government as a delegate of the federal government to the 2014 National Conference. It was that same Labour Party that Afenifere, of which I am the Secretary General, nominated me to Peter Obi to become the Southwest coordinator during the presidential election, and also a member of the legal team of Obi's presidency, even up to the Supreme Court as a lawyer. So whatever I seek from Labour Party, either being candidate of is legitimate. It's very legitimate. There's nobody in the Labour Party that can tell me any story about this party. No one.
Yeah. So Mimiko is no longer a member of the Labour Party.
I do not know.
Yeah, but he is a member of the PDP.
Which choice? Do you know Mimiko is a political giant, not only in this state, but even in this country.
He's being called Iroko.
No, he's called Iroko.
Yeah.
So, and Iroko will be a member of a political party, and rally will be held. You will not. If Iroko were a member of any political party, he will be the one.
He's your very good friend.
Very good friend.
Your leader.
Senior brother, leader.
Your principal.
My principal. I have no doubt about that.
But are you in talks with him?
Oh, of course I am. Why not?
Did he approve of your ambition of wanting to become governor? Because his younger brother is in Zel.
No.
Abbas.
No. Let me put it this way. It's a long history. Mimiko and I have been coming since 1988. We were both in the SDP. In 1988, I was from 1990, I was local government chairman, perhaps the youngest local government chairman in Nigeria then, just 2 years after my youth service. Mimiko was the head commissioner from SDP. We were both again in the government of Adebayo Adefarati. And when he won election as governor through Labour Party, he appointed me his commissioner.
So the question is Mimiko backing you?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not an issue for me to debate. To debate with you.
No, I'm asking. It's not a debate. I'm asking you, is Mimiko, Olusegun Mimiko, the man called Iroko,
yes,
is he backing you?
Olusegun Mimiko is not against me.
But it's not backing you.
I said it's not against me.
But is it backing you?
No, I mean,
It may not be against you, but it may not be backing.
Both are opposite of each other.
But I imagine that it may be backing his younger brother Abbas Mimiko.
You need to ask both of them that. That's not for me to answer.
But can you say authoritatively that you have the backing of Olusegun Mimiko?
I said I do not have Mimiko working against me.
Now, what chance do you have in this election?
Thank you very much.
Dr. Shola, Chief Shola.
Thank you very much. This election is going to be about two political parties and their administration. There is no PDP in this election.
Really?
I'll tell you.
Oh,
listen to me. There's no PDP in this election. This election is between Labour Party and APC. The reason is this. Agbola Ajayi of the PDP was Akeredolu's first-term deputy governor. Ayedatiwa of the APC is Akeredolu's second-time deputy governor, now incumbent governor. So if you want to assess their credibility and performance in government, you will assess them vis-a-vis the Akeredolu's government and the role they played in that government. The same way you will assess me vis-a-vis the Mimiko administration of the Labour Party, of which I was commissioner for 2 terms, and my deputy governor. So you see, when PDP goes out, when Agbola Ajayi goes out, with which government program, with which antecedent is he going to campaign?
So you are campaigning in the name of Iroko?
I am campaigning in the name of the Labour Party.
So you are telling your supporters, remember what Iroko did.
Remember what the government...
vote for me.
That's
what you are telling them.
Remember what the government of Iroko did, of which I was part and parcel.
You said you are going to provide compulsory, free education.
Yes.
That is like a flagship aspect of your campaign, which got my attention. Right. And there were a lot of people who will say compulsory.
Yes.
Is it under the Child Rights Act, or under what law are you going to make it compulsory?
There is no law, Shehu, that prohibits education of a child. In fact, the right to education is an inalienable right of a child. And what we want to do is this. I'll give you certain examples. In 1979, for those of us who lived in Lagos, we were operating 3 shifts, morning, afternoon, and evening. A Jakonde came and said he was going to put a stop to that. Within the first year of Jakonde ended the shift system in Lagos. He was building schools, and they said, oh, those schools were poultry. But those poultries today have produced professors. It is contradictory in terms for any of the states of Southwest, including Edo and Delta, with the head start that Awolowo gave us in 1950s, to now still count us as part of states with out-of-school children. We are going to stop it from the first day of my inauguration as governor of Ondo State. No child of school age will be found not to be in school within the hours of the school.
Those figures indict any government, either state or at the federal level, because the laws are very clear under the right of a child.
Yes.
Right to school,
the right to education,
the right to life.
Yes.
And you find all of these kids on the school. So the question is that it is not as though there are no sufficient laws backing that every child should be in school.
Yes.
But now, what caught my attention is how you are going to enforce a compulsion.
Yes.
Is it to criminalize a child by holding the child not being in school, by holding a parent accountable and sending the parent to jail, or how are you going to do it? In some other crimes, in America, for example, if a child falls down from the skies, he has every right to go to school.
Yes.
If the child does not go to school, they hold the parent accountable.
Yes. You see, and like I told you, our policy is going to be such that from the day a child is born up to when I attain the age of 18, he's a child of the state. He's not a child of the parents.
How are you going to handle it? So if you find a child on the street that is not in school, how are you going to manage the number of the children available in the state and those ones are out of school, and who are you going to hold accountable? That is how, it is the how. It's easy to campaign on compulsory child education, but how are you going to implement it? That's the question.
You see, if you go back into history, when there was going to be election in 1952 or 59, Awolowo changed from free universal primary education. Because, but for a lot of people like us, won't be here. Won't be here. That's the benefit that we have. And we must give back to society. You have just said it yourself that there is avalanche of laws about the right of a child to education. It will be for instance, look at an irresponsible thing that the present administration does. From 2009, under this administration, but since Adebayo Adefarati's administration, of which I was also a commissioner, I've been commissioner 3 times in this state. Ondo state government has been responsible for the payment of WAEC registration fee for every child. It is under Ayedatiwa for the first time in the history of this state that government could not pay WAEC. And when results were released, they now put debt in front of the names. It is shameful. You know,
and you want to change that?
I don't know how to change it. I just want to brush it aside because it is a distraction.
Give me a moment, Chief Abisha. We need to go on a short break.
Thank you.
And when we return, more on what are the factors that will determine the voters' choice in this election of Saturday. And today is the last day of campaign, and the issues are also confronting us. The Bola Tinubu government has made a position known about the nearest future economic plans. We'll be getting to insight into all of that when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Let's pause the conversation on Ondo governorship election for a moment. Chief Shola Ebisheni has been speaking with us, and it does look like he's got some ideas on how he thought this state could be run, and those are the ideas he says he will be taking to the election. But let's talk about national economy as some of the proposition made by the Bola Tinubu government today. I'm being joined by Dr. Paul Alaje, who is live for us virtually to give us a sense of what this means. 47.9 trillion proposition for the 2025 budget, and we now know some of the assumptions for the 2025-2027 MTEF. And some of these assumptions, Dr. Alaje, give us a sense. Are they realistic?
Thank you so very much for having me. I have carefully looked at the statements issued by the minister today, the briefing he had with the gentlemen of the press, and I've considered that first, we are looking at a budget plan of 47.9 trillion, approximately $28.18 billion. That is far from what we did last year. Last year was a bit more than this. In fact, I can say that for part of 2021, 2022, in dollar terms, we had more. I've also seen that government is projecting an estimate of over 2 million barrels of crude production per day. But in the real sense, what the National Bureau of Statistics says we did in Q1 was between 1.3 to 1.4 million barrels a day. The government is also looking at an exchange rate of about 1,400. Meanwhile, in the real sense, what is applicable at official window, it's over 1,600. And on the parallel market, about 1,750. Now we say we want to converge our exchange rate, but from this budget parameter, we're looking at something a bit low. So while I think that, yes, exchange rate, I don't see exchange rate going below 1,400 if we continue the policy options that we have adopted. But I also don't see us produce up to 2 million barrels a day, as mentioned by the minister, given the current reality. Do we have capacity to do up to 2 million barrels a day? Certainly, yes. But do we think that with the current economic environment, we can get up to that? Well, I have a lot of reservation for that. Government is projecting about 13.8 trillion naira deficit. That's budget deficit. But in the real sense, I think this will increase a little because revenue, in spite of the fact that naira has been devalued and subsidy over 30 trillion naira from the 47 trillion naira that is expected. When you remove 13.8, we're still speaking of far more than 30 trillion naira in revenue, either as part of a FEC that goes to the federal government or other revenues that government may be looking at. So I think there are some things that could be achieved, and there are some things that is certainly may not be what we achieve. The budget is much lower in dollar terms is much lower than what we have done in previous time. But when you are looking at the in naira terms, the budget is much, much higher. But when you compare, you know that. But the real sense, we are having relatively a lower budget.
So it is those some of these assumptions that I imagine whether or not we're just living in a bubble or the government is really making realistic assumptions for Nigerians to know whether or not we're in the right direction. You look at it, the GDP growth year on year, about 2.98% as at Q1 of 2024. And I'm not sure whether we have experienced as much GDP growth rate of up to 4%. But look at the assumption. What do you think makes the government think that we could achieve up to 4% growth rate? And that is what they have captured in the MTEF.
Well, government is looking at about 3.87, approximately 3.9 GDP growth rate, and maybe some media organization has quoted it as 4%. But in the real sense, neither 1% or 10% is sufficient. And this is the reason. When you study United Arab Emirates, the GDP of the country was about $400 billion. The same with Nigeria's GDP in 2022. Today, the Nigeria's GDP is less than $310 billion. So when you say that our GDP is growing and you convert Nigeria's GDP to dollar terms to compare Nigeria with the rest of the world, then you'll be wondering, how can a GDP be growing, but the sum total of the GDP is reducing? And that is why some of us have said, if we must devalue the currency, it must be that we become a major exporter. We have electricity that is stable, not, what do we call it now, national grid that is collapsing from time to time, almost on a weekly basis, because eventually the goal of the president is that when we devalue, we are going to encourage exports. But the environment for export is not there. No wonder I saw Manufacturing Association of Nigeria and Lagos Chambers of Commerce, I beg your pardon, joined the campaign to say that we need to peg the naira. And my advice has been, peg the naira to 1,000. Unfortunately, if you don't do it this year, if you are looking at doing it next year, then even you might lose the opportunity to put it at 1,000. Because if you don't, then we will have a lot more to pay. Look at the subnational. In spite of the humongous amount of money, bigger than what they are getting in 2020, what they got in 2022 and what they got in 2021, they are getting much more now. But when you look at their debt profile, it has also soared. Just recently, National Bureau of Statistics and Debt Management Office revealed that Nigeria debt profile is now 132 trillion naira compared to what it was, about 5, 6, 7 years ago. Devaluation certainly has a role to play. You're also seeing this budget, 47 trillion naira compared to when we're doing 23, when we did about 28. Now we can see 47. But wait a minute. This 27 trillion naira, how many SUVs are we going to buy for government functionaries? What was the rate of SUV in the previous budget? What will be the rate of SUVs in this budget? I'm sorry, I have to just highlight SUV as an example. What does that mean? For every import, compared to what we did in 2022, what we did in 2023, we will certainly pay more. So the impact of this huge budget in naira terms, quote and unquote, may not be felt by Nigerians. Why? The reason is because it's an estimate of both income and expenditure. The expenditure will in fact grow much higher because of exchange rates.
I want us to wrap up quickly in just about 30 seconds on this matter. Two things I can imagine could be happening or on the minds of the Bola Tinubu team, the economic team, when they're putting these assumptions together, is either they are foreseeing a growth that based on a particular pattern that some of us do not know about. At the customs conference, they're talking about customs eating 5 trillion, higher than what they are projected for 2024, and the year is not over yet. The NSA has announced that we are already hitting 1.8 million barrels per day in oil production, which is good news. And maybe that's the reason why they think we might be able to hit 2 million barrels per day. But it could be there are expectations that we do not know based on the pattern, or there are some things that they have at the back of their minds to do in 2025. In all of this, what word of caution or what exactly should be the expectation of the average Nigerian going into that year and the nearest future within the what MTED captured? Just in about 30 or 40 seconds.
Well, I remember first week of January, I spoke with your colleague on an interview when the 2024 budget was passed. And she mentioned to me that this budget is a budget of renewed hope. I said, I hope there will be hope at the end of the tunnel. But what I can see is that the single largest item in that budget was debt service. Today, we must service all our debt, especially those monies that are collected in foreign currency. Whether we'll be able to implement all the capital expenditure in the budget is a different ballgame. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, we have done nearly 11 months in 2024. Where is the impact? That does not mean government has not done anything. I will be very fair. Government have made some moves. But I'm saying in the reality of the economy that we found ourselves, I think we need to do more. I understand that it's trying to raise a bond about 1 point something billion euro. Government is trying to raise it to finance this budget. My caution is we need to be wary of further external loan. I had a research I did in 2023, and it revealed that for now, Nigeria should be wary of collecting further foreign loan because it has over 80% negative impact on the economy. I projected that last year, our debt profile, maybe this year I said, this year, our debt profile will cross 100 trillion naira. Little did I know that before the end of the year, we would have done 132 trillion naira in debt profile. Just imagine what the service will be if it just has 2% or 3%. So that's what the president has said. Ours is to provide a support and guidance as far as economics is concerned.
Dr. Alaje, thank you so much. Chief Economist at IBM Professionals, thank you so much indeed for your time. Let's close the program quickly and let's allow Chief Shola Ebisheni 30 seconds to say, why should the people of Ondo State vote for you?
Yeah, thank you. Because we have done it before, we are going to do it. We are going to see to the security of life and property. We are going to take education to the next level. We are going to ensure that we have a sound mind and a sound body by giving the people the right kind of health services. We're going to be involved massively in developing the people and the land, realizing the fact that small and medium scale enterprises will thrive better in our state. We're going to take advantage of the abundant resources, both mineral resources, forest resources, and what we have, particularly the fact that Ondo State has its longest shoreline in Nigeria, and want to take advantage of what our boundary with Atlantic gives us, which puts us just about less than 30 minutes from Lagos. I'm going to take advantage of our proximity to the center of commerce in Nigeria.
I wish you the very best, Dr. Shola Ebisheni.
Thank you.
Campaigns are over. You keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best. Thank you so much indeed. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
That's our show for tonight. In our studio here in Akure, in Ondo State, where we're monitoring for you the governorship election in Ondo State. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. God bless Nigeria.